Hey everyone, Big Black.
Welcome to Learning with Goofball!
No, you can't do that this week.
Well, why?
Why? Why? Are you kidding me? Why? Because you put the man in traction. Don't you remember? You have those two videos, the how to be a cowboy and then the fighting one. He's been in traction for weeks. Why do you think the show was suspended? We were trying to save money to raise for his hospital bills. He's just a human being and you beat him up unmercifully. You're a monster, quite frankly.
I am just trying to teach.
Yeah, whatever excuse you want to use. We've all been trying to do things. Even Wallace has been contributing. He tried to do a commercial for that Western wear guy, Buck Dodert. Tried being the operative word.
So this is what you want me to read? Read for the commercial? Very well, I shall read it. Come on down to Buck's Western Wear, just off the interstate, for a rootin' tootin' cowboy suit that every cowboy and cowgirl want to have. Who wrote this? Is it the proprietor, Mr. Dodert, wrote this? This is awful. I mean, rootin' tootin'. You really expect me to say rootin' tootin'? I'm not saying that. It's ridiculous. And don't get me started on the verb mistake he made in the second sentence. It's awful. You know what? I'm not doing this. I don't care. I'm done. This is a part excrement, and you know it. Goodbye.
Oh no. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Okay, enough. What was Goofball going to teach everyone how to do this week?
Well, how to speak in Western language.
Wait, what? You were going to have the guy, who does not talk, mind you, teach everyone to speak. You see a problem there?
Of course not.
Listen, you know what? I will teach everyone, Professor BigBlackHatMan will teach everyone how to speak like a real cowboy type, that real redneck. Yeah. So, everybody sit back and enjoy my little lesson today. Hello class, I'm Professor BigBlackHatMan, and this is my pointer. Get the point? I thought you would. Now today, I'm going to teach you some good old Western vernacular. You've heard it before in countless movies, comic books, all over the place. Today, I'm going to teach you how to talk like a real Westerner. So, let's begin with the most obvious thing, the pronoun. Now in proper English, there's a way to say these words, there's a way to say them in the Western. Let me start with the simple one, I. I as in myself. Now that's how we say it in standard English, but in the Western it's I. You gotta really emphasize ah. Say it with me now. Ah. Spelled A-H in most instances. Next we have you, as in the other, the person who is not me. You. In the Western, you is not you, as it would be in standard English, it's yeah. Yeah. You know, like that. Try it with me now. Yeah. That indicates the other. Very simple. Next we have them. Them. A whole group of other. You know, as the Westerner would say. You know, I'm over there. Like that. As you've noticed, the Westerner likes to shorten things up. Doesn't like to waste his time with a lot of words. We have Mr. John Wayne here to explain. Talk low, talk slow, and don't talk too much. Good, sage advice. We move on. We have they. Now oddly, the opposite of they gets longer. Thems. Thems over there. Like that. Can you say that with me now? Thems. Finally we have we, which is actually just we. Forget that one. That one doesn't actually change. But as you can see, we have a whole example here. Now, stop the video, take time to practice, and we'll resume in a moment. Next up, we have three words, when used properly, will really show you know your Western stuff. First we have ain't. The replacement for isn't. In the proper standard English, ain't is a contraction for are is not. So therefore, when you're saying ain't, you're saying are is not. Not the most intelligent sounding thing, is it? But, trust me, it's very important. There ain't no way. I ain't gonna do it. Ain't. See? Very important to this type of vocabulary. Next we have taint. Ooh. And for those filthy minds out there, stop thinking that. Taint is a contraction, once again, for there are is not. Tain't no way. Tain't gonna do it. You see? Very simple. There are is not. Last we have tweren't. Tweren't is thems were not. Remember thems? We learned this earlier, people. Don't forget. Now, go ahead and practice these 3 words. Very important to the Western vocabulary. Ain't, tain't, tweren't. Moving forward. Now we're going to talk about your enemy, the letter G. To those not aware, in this sort of vernacular, you often drop G's from words. The proper word, as we all know, is nothing. However, in the Western vernacular, it's none. The G is dropped. It's very important that you do this. It's a very important part of the vernacular. Getting becomes gettin'. Going becomes going. Now this is a very simple one, and one that can really endure you to the Western types. You know, just drop the G. If there's a G at the end of the word, don't use it. It makes it much simpler. Now, for those of you at home, you can practice these 3 words, nothing for nuttin', and getting for gettin', and going for going. Or come up with your own. It's a very easy one to do, and one I highly recommend. Go ahead and practice. I said practice. Moving on to our more advanced lessons, remember this simple thing. Tense is, somebody must have scribbled on my board there, bull something, I don't know what the rest of the word is, but tense is not important. That's what I'm trying to get across here, people. Past tense, present tense, future tense, we learned them in school. We all did, standard English. It's very important. However, we're not talking about standard English here, we're talking about Western English. So if you get the tense wrong, you're just as right as ever. Let's say you want to talk about something that's going to take place in the future. I will go. Instead of saying I will go, you say I go. You see? Very easy. You are saying you're doing it now, however, you're actually doing it in the future, but your audience still understands, because in the Western, it just doesn't matter. So, this is for the advanced students only, of course. Once you've got down those first few lessons, this is one you can move on to. Try it out at home. Think of something that's going to happen in the future or in the past, and then change the tense up to the present. Or if it's going to happen now, go for future or past. Really mess it up. That's how you'll know you're getting the job done right. Go ahead and practice. Now, are you all feeling comfortable with what we've covered so far? If you are, good. If not, simply rewind the video. Watch it again until you're comfortable with it. Because once you've got all these things down, we move on to one of the final lessons. The homespun reference. Yes, the homespun reference. One of the real attributes of the Western speaker. You know, such as references to your livestock, your fields, your grandmother. All these things are very useful when trying to sound Western. For example, let me help you out here. It is so dry, my cattle are thirsty. Okay, that's not a very good example. Let me try again. Crazier than a chicken in a bag. Maybe not one of the more popular ones, but the one I'm giving you nonetheless. These can be original, they can be hackneyed, they can be trite, they can be anything you want them to be because they're made up. Yes, that's just the thing. These homespun references, by and large, are completely fictionalized. This is only for the advanced students for that reason, because to sound genuine, you have to convince your audience, and to convince your audience, you usually have to sort of have some sort of point of reference, and, you know, I mean, wait. Professor BigBlackHatMan stinks! Who wrote this? Which one of you wrote this? Which one? I will not tolerate this kind of misbehavior in my classroom. No! BigBlackHatMan stinks. You're lucky we only have one lesson left. Go ahead and practice some homespun references. I'm so angry I can't even speak. BigBlackHatMan. I do not stink! Just showered. Now we move on to the final lesson, some sentence structure for you. what we have here is a nice standard English sentence. Your cat has fleas. Now, in standard English, this is a perfectly acceptable sentence, but in the Western, it needs some improvement. Your becomes your. I know we didn't go through the pronoun section, but it's a pretty easy relationship when you think about it. Your. And instead of cat, we say varmint, because we want to show disdain for the rest of the world, and it's homespun. So instead of cat, we have varmint. Has, a very nicely used proper verb. So in the Western, we say gots. We discussed this earlier, people. Tense doesn't matter. It's that bull word, whatever that was up here. And instead of fleas, we're going with homespun again, chiggers. So instead of your cat has fleas, your varmint got chiggers. Can you see how that works? Very simply done. This is a nice example for you. One more. Go ahead and practice this one, and then we'll do one more example. Now for our next sentence, we have your dog lacks breeding. Once again, a nice standard English sentence, one that gets its point across, very easy to understand. So naturally we have to alter it. Your once again becomes your. We already discussed that. It's your, not your. Dog is replaced with D-A-W-G apostrophe S. Your dogs. I'm not sure why this pronunciation is used. I just accept that it is. And we get rid of this awful verb here. We replace it with the apostrophe S. And instead of breeding, we say mongrel. Your dog's a mongrel. Your dog lacks breeding. Your dog's a mongrel. You see? You see the difference? Isn't it obvious now at this point? I think I've taught you everything I know. Yes. I feel like you're ready. Well, maybe not completely ready. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you one bonus sentence. Yes, one bonus sentence. So practice your dog's a mongrel, and we'll be right back with that last sentence. Now, I have one final sentence for you. One that I feel like if you can master, you'll have Western speech down pat. Here's the sentence. Your wife is mildly unprepossessing. An insulting statement, but one that has to be said from time to time. And one that I'm sure it can be handled very well by a good friend. So, your wife is mildly unprepossessing. Now, in the Western, it's a bit different, as you may well expect. Instead of we go with damn. Damn. It's a nice way to start out a sentence in this sort of vernacular. For your, of course. And instead of wife, we have a very insulting term, old lady. Damn your old lady. Just like that. You see, we got the whole first part down right there. No longer your wife, it's now, damn your old lady. And instead of is, we go with a very, very folksy sort of thing here. Instead of is mildly unprepossessing, we say, damn, your old lady could be spelling for a scarecrow. You see how that is? We have folksy references, we have lack of a G, we have an article change for a duh. Excellent, excellent sentence. So, damn, your old lady could spell no scarecrow. Said like that, said fast, said on your breath, said cruelly. It's just a beautiful sentence, one that if mastered, could be yours to take. Well, that's it for me, Professor Big Black Hat Man. I hope you've learned something about Western speech and feel that you can take care of it. If you can't, come see me in my office. That was actually a lot of talking. That was actually sort of an exhausting episode. My gun. Put my gun away. Can anybody read this? This board here? I doubt it. I bet you it was all just like Claire when it shows up on the video. But I said everything that was on it, so don't worry. It's what's everybody think of my sign? Hey, you want to know a secret? I did the Wallace segment without pants on.